Well, this is the karaoke section, right?
How's it going, Ed?
Chase, what's the excitement?
Can I turn this mic down? Like, I feel like it's in my face.
What's the excitement factor like to get to camp and then more importantly, play Notre Dame? I mean, you were on the team last time you guys went there, but
Right. Obviously, Notre Dame presents a lot of exciting stuff for us as a team and as a defense. And honestly, though, like, our priority and focus as a team right now isn't necessarily even on Notre Dame. We knew coming back after last year there was going to be stuff that we wanted to address and fix, and how do you turn around, a program that went 8-5 and make it a championship contending program? And the same way you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. We took care of winter conditioning, we took care of spring ball, we took care of summer conditioning. Now it's on to camp, and once we get through that, then we're going to really shift our focus and start thinking about Notre Dame. But they're a tough team, so they'll present a good fight.
Chase, you mentioned taking care of winter conditioning, and you said earlier in the spring about how you're giving some suggestions and everything. How did you feel like that ended up playing out? You said was kind of
Yeah, and that's the thing is, sweet. Just give me 1 second. It's harsh for a little bit. That's the thing is that whenever you say something and you take a risk, you never know how it's going to turn out because it's a risk. There's different aspects, and whenever I went and talked to Coach Harbaugh, one was I wasn't sure how he was going to respond to that. You just don't know, and everything went great. We got a nutritionist. Seems like she really cares about feeding us and has turned that whole aspect around. And then, so like on the feeding us front, like she's done an awesome job. And so now we're more well fed. And then winter conditioning in specific, one of my critiques was I basically went to him and so how it worked was Tuesday, Thursday at 6 a.m. we did almost like a group conditioning. So like the whole team was there and you were grouped up by like kind of like skill set, like big skill or linemen, and then all your scores would be posted. And it was so people were competing to compete, and like when it came down to like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, like if you had a squat on a Monday, like who wants to squat on a Monday when you're about to like compete and do all that stuff? So it seemed like there was a lot of sandbagging going on, and people were competing just to compete, not necessarily using competition as a means to winning on a football field. And so I tried to stress that to Coach Harbaugh, and I felt like this year we did similar stuff, but it was for a shorter period of time, and the competition that we did wasn't posted, but like it was still a competition, and I felt like it was more as a means to being better on the football field, which I think is the biggest difference.
How big is the impact of the bowl game when you decided to open all that fundraising for Chad Flock? You didn't know the impact that was going to have, but from that, did that kind of give you a greater interest in the impact you can have as a football player, but the impact off the field?
Yeah, it definitely opened my eyes, and I keep being pleasantly surprised with just everything that goes on. I did a jersey giveaway, and honestly, like I was just expecting it just to get like a couple hundred comments, and I think it got like 3,200. It's just like was wild, and definitely didn't realize that people even liked me, but definitely not that much. So it was cool. It was interesting, and just the impact and platform that I have. I plan on even taking it, just a notch higher this year. We got a cool idea with Tammy Carr that we're working through and trying to just do with compliance. And if you do a raffle, you have to go through the state of Michigan. So it's cool. I'm excited for that front as well as being a football player.
Has Abigail O'Connor had any impact on you?
Has that interview with Connor?
Yeah.
So a lot of people don't know I actually had a FaceTime with Conor McGregor the other week, and it was only a minute long.
You misheard me, but go ahead.
Oh,
I was saying Abigail.
Oh, I think you said Conor McGregor.
Yeah, no.
Sorry. So has our relation with Abby changed anything?
No, I mean, has she like had an impact?
Yeah. So Abigail, a lot of people don't know her, but she was the nutritionist that I referenced. It definitely has had an impact on our program in the sense that like not only are we getting working in supplemental meals, snacks and stuff, to different places like Chipotle salads up and incorporating more meals for the players. But I feel like she's taken into, just all our opinions and our voices, and it feels like we got almost like the players have a sword in the fight in like having a say into what kind of food they're getting, and it's refreshing, and it's important to us as a team.
So you FaceTime with Conor McGregor? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah, sorry, that's what I thought you said.
I want to hear that too.
Yeah, so I FaceTime with Conor McGregor, and it was only a minute long, but it was just a cool, really cool experience, because I know you guys who've been following me like locally just have always been a big fan, like huge admirer of just his work and how he approaches things, and yeah, it was special.
What's a 1 minute conversation?
It was
like?
1 minute conversation. It was quick, but we said a lot. Like we both speak pretty fast. So at first I started off by saying basically how much respect I had for him, and it was like I get goosebumps thinking about it. He goes, "It goes both ways, brother," and that was cool. So that's honestly the biggest takeaway. It just is like long story. Just there are channels that you have to go through to get an A-list celebrity, I guess.
But he knows who you are.
Right.
Chase Winovich.
Yeah, he said he respects me, and he said, I told him how he was a beast and stuff, and he said the same thing to you, and he kept saying I was going to be a beast this fall, so take that for what it's worth. Got his blessing.
When Jim Harbaugh was hired, expectations skyrocketed. How much are you guys driven by that lack of success against your two big rivals?
We're driven. We're plenty motivated, and every day I go on Twitter, and it's the difference with high school and college is that I'd say whenever you're in high school and you start, like, you're going through the process and you get, like, you're going through your senior year, and it's like everyone shows a lot of love and this and that, like it's almost like stops, like this kid can't really play. When you get to college, it's different. Like when going through the process, like although you do get love, like people become more critical of you, like, oh, can he do this or can he do that? And it's just like, oh, last season or maybe it was a fluke, or even this year, like, as a team, can we hear that or we hear this, can they actually put it together? And so we embrace those challenges and those criticisms, and it's easy to shy away from that stuff. But like I said, we look forward to the opportunity to prove the haters wrong, and at the end of the day, it's always been my teammates and I, and my coaches, and at the end of the day, that's all it's going to be there. So, and our families.
Why do you want to read that stuff?
Why do I read that stuff?
Yeah.
I don't know. You got to have a balance. Honestly, if you look too much into that stuff and you give too much attention to it, it just drives you crazy, because some of these people have no idea what they're talking about. No offense to those people, but at the same time, it's motivation. It's I'm a big chip on the shoulder guy, and I'm not going to mention it programs, but I'm sure you can deduce which ones they are in the Big Ten that have built almost the last 10, 15 years off of that chip on the shoulder mentality that they're devalued. So it's all just about harnessing whatever energy you can, and just so you could maintain that peak performance.
Which team are you talking about?
Just the team in the Big Ten. So like I said, I'm sure you guys can guess which one I was talking about.
Ron had a post on social media a couple weeks ago saying, like, national championship or bust. I mean, do you feel the same way?
This is a tricky question, because I've been doing a great job all day, like avoiding setting up, like, oh, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. Ultimately, like, yeah, if we don't win a national championship, I think, like, it will be a disappointment, because that's just our mentality. Like, talking to John Jansen on the car ride to Chicago, who's part of our '97 team, and just like seeing how he set it up from a leadership standpoint, how like they attacked every day, and just any insights I can get. And we got as good a shot as any. Like, the margin for being in the playoffs and not, look at 2016, it's inches. I mean, it really comes down to that. And any game that we were in last year, like, besides the second half of Penn State, I feel like we could win. So, yeah.
You and Rashawn have gotten a lot of attention, obviously, but talk about those interior guys a little bit. How good you feel about the tackles that they're going to get.
Yeah. So this is my opinion on the matter, but the offensive line is kind of the identity, and at least with the core of what makes it run for the offense. For For the defensive line, for the defense, it's almost like the defensive line. But it all starts in the middle and then works its way out. Because like once they establish that they can't run in the middle, then like for a lot of teams, okay, what are they going to do? They have to either run outside or pass. And those guys, they set the tempo now. Those guys get after it, and just like it's amazing how athletic they are for their size. And I could go on and list a whole bunch, but there's a couple kids in particular that really turned the corner this year. Like those names consist like Michael Dwumfor. I thought he did a great job. Luigi Villain, he was coming off a knee injury last year, but he's done a great job this offseason. I know he's outside, but somebody really in particular was Carlo Kemp. I'm not gonna. I'd say this to his face, so I'm fine saying it in public. He almost looked like a doughboy last year. Where like this year, I think he looks like a man. I think he's gonna be a good player for us, and Aubrey Solomon as well. I think like especially the last few weeks, he's really started to like mentally turn the corner. So.
Chase, the last handful of 5-6 years, defense is pretty much done the trademark. Are you guys, and I remember, we were asking you guys last year the same type of questions. Was it waiting for the offense to come around? Is it still similar feelings, or are you guys confident that the offense is going to start coming around?
It's tough because, like, you're almost baptized, like, it's sad to say, but, like, I was almost baptized to the idea that it was always Michigan's defense responsibility. Like, if you look at like my freshman year, our offense, I think we had a couple games we had negative yards rushing. Like it's not a bad mouth at anybody or the offense or whatever. But it was always kind of like it was our responsibility as a defense, like no matter the turnout. And it's the truth. Like if they don't score any points, like no matter what happens, they cannot win that game. And so you learn from it and from those things, and you just keep working. It's at the end of the day, like you can't point fingers, but having an offense that's even marginally better than it's been will have, huge dividends. I think personally, but that's just like I said, my opinion. One humble man's opinion.
From your guys' standpoint, though, just trying to put myself in your shoes is one of the mainstays of the defense, and you guys see like a lot. Just in the past 3 years, how many different offensive coaches, analysts, that sort of thing have been through there, yet the defense largely unchanged. Does that make you guys worry as defensive players? Like, okay, well here we go again. The offense is more transition. But what's your thought process?
Transition could be a bad or good thing. You transition from like this is any reference to Coach Harbaugh, but I'm just saying in general. Like if you had some team on a remote planet and you took a bad coach and you transition to a really good coach, like a transition's a good thing. Like you transition from having cancer to not having cancer, and anything like that. Like sometimes transition's good. In the case of the offensive line, I think like they've transitioned into a bunch of people that were kind of unsure of what they were doing. Like it just didn't seem like they had. This is just from, like I said, my perspective as a defensive lineman on the team. But it just didn't seem like they had as much confidence in what they were doing and like bought into like the protection schemes and stuff. Whereas this year, I think like it seemed like you had some guys stepping up and identifying themselves with the roles. Like we are offensive linemen, like Caesar and Ben Bredesen and Jawan Busher-Beatty and even John Rennan. And so there's some stuff to be excited for from that front. And like if you have an offensive line like that's dominant, like even if you don't have great quarterback play, you at least give yourself a chance to run the ball, make it possible for the other guys. So, like I said, there's a lot to be positive about the offensive line in general. But the offense, like we got a lot to worry about as a defense. Like Notre Dame, Wimbush, he's a great player, and I don't know if he'll be the quarterback this fall, but whoever's in there, they're gonna present some challenges. So.
Chase, someone mentioned Spotlight last year. You guys had the Amazon series, which I'm sure you had a big part of. Is it kind of nice this year to not have the cameras around as much? Michigan football's always had Spotlight, but not the extended Spotlight. It was cool. Conor McGregor talked about this too. It's just like it's important to, I always reference it, and these guys are laughing because they know it's true. But he talks about this too. Like when they were asking him about his documentary that he did on Netflix. It wasn't in theaters, but it's on Netflix now. Anyways,
And he was talking about how it's important to almost like document these things because like many years from now, like you know, a grandkid or you know somebody will look back and watch it and be like, it's so cool, like you know your ancestor did this. And so it was a great experience, honestly. Like, I'm happy it happened, but like it was a little annoying when like I'd be in our team defensive meeting room in the front row, and the camera was this close to my face. And I don't know if it was a wide panel thing, but like I mean, I'm not the most handsome man in the world, so you get a little insecure sometimes. And you just don't know. The thing is, you just don't know what's going to be on the film because like I personally don't have any say in it, and it. You know, like this much is going to be in it, but like you don't want a part where you're daydreaming or the cameras are in there, you're locked in. So it has good stuff and downsides to it. But.
Chase, going back to Notre Dame, you've answered it already. I apologize. But where is the level of excitement for your team in general to get that game back?
I've talked about this previously. Like our level of excitement about that game is off the charts, and we're eager to play that game and get another shot at almost redemption for those guys. For me personally, like whenever I was a freshman, I didn't go to Notre Dame, but I was on the scout team and like trying to prepare those guys. And, we got smoked in Notre Dame, and I think it was 31-0. So it wasn't a great day at the office for Wolverines. So there's challenges and there's opportunities in life, and this is a great one that we definitely look forward to, and definitely has been motivation for us.
They're a rival. Michigan State and Ohio State are rivals. You hear the questions all the time. Not to ask it, what goes through your head when it is against again and against?
About like Ohio State and Notre Dame and being rivals and stuff.
Ohio State and Michigan State.
Yeah. Okay. Just like what about them?
The struggles against them.
I mean, you ever see Lion King, man? It's what'd you do that for? It's in the past. It's whatever. It's in the past. The past may hurt. I'm butchering this quote here, but it's in the past. The past may hurt, but you can either run from it or learn from it. And so we're not shying away from the fact that we've really struggled against our rivals, even though like we've been in every game. It's just like we just haven't got the breaks that I think we needed and found a way to win, and they have. So it's definitely at the forefront of our head, but at the same time, it's not, because like those games are great, but they're down the road, man. We just got to worry about, like I said, previously. I don't know if you were here, but it's just the same way you eat an elephant is what we're gonna do, and it's just one bite at a time. That's the only way you can do it. So.
What's the lesson learned, though? Chase, what's the lesson learned from those near misses
in those games? Is that I'd say the biggest lesson is probably that you got to. If you get the chance to make a play, like you got to capitalize. There's plays in that game, which you guys are smart people. I'm sure you can go out and figure out which ones those were the last couple of years, where we make those plays, and it's a different outcome in every game that we've lost, really, but especially in those rivalry games.
Chase, on the subject of, do you feel like this team is going to give you the best chance, this group of guys, to go out and win a Big Ten championship?
Yeah, I really think so. I mean, when you factor in the fact that we had, the youngest team in America last year, and we returned everybody on, we returned basically everybody on defense except for Mo Hurst and Mike McRae, and when you factor in the fact that our offense is at the very least going to be marginally better than it was from a production standpoint last year. I think there's a lot of things to be excited about at the very least.
Chase, on the subject of Ohio State, it looks like Dwayne Haskins is going to be the starting quarterback this year. You guys